Brought to you by the Digital Union, a part of Teller at The Ohio State University.
If I were to advise other instructors who might want to get away from the traditional methods of teaching, I guess I would have two things to say. The first is, just go crazy. The rock opera is an attempt to take a fairly dry subject that has lots and lots of chemistry in it and make it appealing to a non-majors audience. If I were to stand up and give a didactic lecture on the topic, the cell phones would come out. They start messing around on their computers. They start checking out what's on eBay. It's a very difficult topic to talk about with this crowd. So my thinking was, well, if we can convert it to a different format, perhaps something musical, then maybe we would get their attention long enough to teach them the details of the concept. So the question is, how are we going to keep those kids in their seats, and how are we going to not only keep them there, but do something that makes them different from when they walked in the door? Using a rock opera was a way to take a whole bunch of information and put it all in a cohesive format, which would then provide not only the discrete information we wanted to convey about specific topics like totipotency, like stem cells, but would also provide a context for understanding how the concepts are unified. And this would, in essence, do the heavy lifting for me. We decided, well, if we're really going to turn this into a rock opera, we probably could stand some dance to go with it. So we waited until class began last fall, and then I just put out a general casting call to the Biology 101 class. Are there any dance majors out there who'd like to have a quarter-long project? And 3 or 4 people came forward, and they became our dancers. And my hope is, and I think this is probably a reasonable hope, and that is that OSU students will be providing the creative talent for all aspects of this project, whether it's the singing or the lighting or the staging or the playwriting. All of that will come from the creative talents of OSU students, and that to me is probably the most gratifying aspect of this whole project. The scientific literature actually shows that if you take a complex idea, whether it's biology or chemistry or physics or whatever, but if you take that idea, you put a beat behind it, and you make it rhyme, all of a sudden it becomes a lot more interesting. And it accesses parts of your brain that are not accessible through, for instance, my standing up and giving a lecture. So our thinking was, okay, if we can take stem cells and put it into a musical format, maybe the students would leave the course with the refrain playing in their head, and that would allow them to not only understand the ideas coming in, but also help them retain the information after they leave the class. Among the departments that I collaborate with to put these alternative presentations together, this year for the musical included the Department of Theater, the Department of Dance, the Digital Union, and of course Sebastian Knowles, who was in the Department of English. When you have these ideas that lie outside of your realm of expertise, and God knows these all qualify. The big thing is, the thing perhaps that is the most significant impediment is people's unwillingness to ask. I think that most people, especially at a university where the whole idea is sharing knowledge, most people are actually willing to help with these things, but you have to ask. And I would just recommend just going straight to the student, because that's how you get the job done. While these people will not be scientists, they will become teachers and policy makers and voters. They're going to be asked questions that have a scientific basis in the voting booth. They need to have some idea how we evaluate information that comes from the testing of hypotheses and how that's different from other kinds of thought. And so it's important to the Jeffersonian model of democracy to have some idea what biology is and how it impacts their lives.